So welcome to the 2024 Goodwood Festival of Speed and what looks like a regular 997 GT3 car, except it's actually not, because what it is a 997 GT3 Hybrid. Because while it's got a 480 horsepower flat six engine at the back, it's got 60 kilowatt electric motors on each of the front wheels. And that gives it a kind of KERS-like boost when you hit a button on the steering wheel. So it is, in essence, a forebearer to the new Porsche 911 GTS with its hybrid system. And this particular car was actually made as a kind of rolling laboratory to test out the hybrid systems on Porsche racing cars and eventually, obviously, Porsche road cars. So I mentioned the KERS system, and what that does is when the car is braking, it harvests the energy and it stores it in a flywheel generator that spins up to 40,000 RPM, and it's just situated on the passenger side of the car. And then when you press a button on the steering wheel, you get 6 to 8 seconds of electric boost going through the front wheels, which helps save weight because you don't need to carry as much fuel, and it also obviously makes it faster.
Today I'm going to be driving the 911 GT3 R Hybrid up the famous Goodwood Hill, which obviously means it's my very first time driving the car. So naturally, I wanted to take a bit of time to get acquainted with just how everything works.
Okay, so if you're like me and you want to know how these kind of racing cars work, then let's have a look at all the controls, because there's a fair bit going on here. There's plenty of buttons, as you can probably imagine. So to start it up, you've got to put the main switch to on, got to press the ignition on the button panel here, wait for the green lights, and then you can hit the starter button with just a little bit of accelerator. Then the steering wheel, well, it's completely round. I don't think it was until 992 Cup car that they made the steering wheels the kind of Formula One style shape. Could be a little bit earlier than that, but this is completely round. But it's got this carbon body in the middle where all of the switches and buttons sit, and there is a lot. So we've got pit speed limiter, obvious, the lights, the drink, because this car was designed to do things like Nürburgring 24 hours, so having a drink is quite important. The boost for the hybrid system, very important. Radio, engine map, traction control map. That's an interesting one. I asked them about the traction control and the ABS. They said it does have it, but they don't really know what setting it's on. So I guess I'll find out, which is encouraging. Hybrid map, and then bits to do with the TV. There's an emergency gearbox button, which I really hope I don't have to press, but it's there. It's a big red button, so that's useful, and that basically puts it into a fail-safe mode if things start going wrong. And also, green button here for reverse. You don't just pull down on the paddles beyond neutral like you would on a video game. There's an actual button for it. Paddles behind the wheel detaches. I've actually got proper adjustment on the seat here, so I can slide back and forward just like you would in a 911 road car, which is quite cool. You don't usually see that in racing cars, so that's very useful for endurance racing, obviously, when you've got multiple drivers. This big carbon fiber box here, it's not actually the fuel tank, it's where the flywheel is stored. So all of that is going on underneath here. And then we've got various switches for the fog lights, the fan, the ABS if it has it, flashing lights, windscreen wipers, all down here. And that's about it, really. There's a fair few buttons, but I think I've got my head around them.
Crash course done, it was time to head to the start line. And while these drives might look easy from the outside, in a totally unfamiliar car, it's a balancing act between going fast enough to give the spectators a show, but also not doing anything that puts a priceless museum piece at risk. Here goes nothing.
Made it to the top of the hill. That was awesome. It's on wet tyres, so the tread blocks move around a bit, so it makes the car really feel like it's moving even when you're not on the limit. The braking is incredible, the pedal feel is amazing, it sounds fantastic, gearbox is brilliant. A little bit tricky getting it to move smoothly when you're not trying to do a burnout off the line. I think we got some nice wheel spin. Oh, it's a lovely car actually. It's a, you know what, to drive slowly, but once you start going, it is absolutely awesome. Hasn't Porsche ever made a bad 911 racing car? Maybe before my time, but I can't remember one. This thing is fantastic. Really enjoyed it, and I'm relieved as well because, yeah, bit of pressure on there. It's only one of these.
Hopefully you enjoyed a peek at what it's like to drive a Porsche museum car at the Goodwood Festival of Speed. Needless to say, Porsche's hybrid tech has come a long way over the last 14 years or so, but there's still something incredibly cool about a racing car development mule testing technology that becomes mainstream many years later.